You've seen that crazy horse-punching scene, and it never gets old. But here's the thing. Blazing Saddles is not just a silly Western comedy full of wild jokes. Behind the movie, there were fights, last-minute changes, shocking studio battles, and some of the weirdest stories you can imagine. In this video, we're going to look at 20 weird facts about Blazing Saddles. And make sure you stick around until the very end, because I have saved a bonus fact that's too good to miss. Richard Pryor was the original choice for Sheriff Bart. The role of Sheriff Bart wasn't just inspired by Richard Pryor, it was actually written for him. Yes, Mel Brooks saw Pryor's wit and boldness as the perfect match for this outrageous Western satire. Pryor even contributed as a co-writer and shaped some of the sharpest jokes, but studio executives saw him as a financial risk. They cited his drug use and refusal by insurance companies. Brooks was crushed, but stuck to his principle of casting a black actor. Eventually, Cleavon Little stepped in. He delivered a performance that made Bart unforgettable, even though it was Pryor's spirit that had lit the fire. Gene Wilder was a last-minute replacement. Originally, the Waco Kid was supposed to be played by Gig Young, a respected actor, but then a twist happened. On his first day on set, Young arrived drunk, unsteady, and dangerously ill. While sitting on a horse, he began to shake violently before vomiting green liquid. Production stopped instantly, and he was rushed to the hospital. With Young unable to continue, Brooks turned to his friend Gene Wilder. Wilder flew in and arrived on set within just 2 days and became the Waco Kid. His chemistry with Cleavon Little was so natural, and the audience thought it had always been planned. John Wayne passed on a cameo. Well, what happened when Brooks met John Wayne, the king of westerns? Yes, it felt like destiny. Wayne read the script and laughed, admitting he found it hilarious. Brooks offered him a small cameo. But Wayne ultimately said no, explaining it was too blue for his respectable image. Despite declining, he promised to be first in line at theaters. Even without appearing in the film, Wayne's approval gave Brooks confidence that his parody had managed to impress even the most iconic cowboy in movie history. The writing process was a drunken fistfight. The Blazing Saddles script wasn't written in a calm writer's room. Well, instead, it was a pure chaos. 5 writers arguing, drinking, shouting, and battling over ideas. Mel Brooks, Richard Pryor, Andrew Bergman, Alan Uger, and Norman Steinberg all contributed. Brooks described it as a drunken fistfight, but out of that madness they got a golden work. Each writer brought their own outrageous sensibility, and Brooks had the final say. The script was sharp, unpredictable, and fearless. This unusual, chaotic method created the movie's anarchic tone. This proved that sometimes great art can emerge not from order and planning, but from messy, passionate, and creative clashes. Madeline Kahn's famous audition. Do you know that Madeline Kahn's audition for Lily Von Shtupp has become a Hollywood legend? Brooks asked her to show her legs as a tribute to Marlene Dietrich, but Kahn was quick-witted and asked, "So, it's that kind of audition?" Brooks then explained what he really meant, and Kahn agreed but added firmly, "No touching." Even before she was chosen for the part, her sharp humor was clear. When she finally appeared on screen, she gave one of the funniest performances of the time. Her playful copy of classic cabaret singers earned her an Academy Award nomination, and that showed how one brave audition turned into one of film's most iconic comic moments. The first movie with audible farts. It may sound silly now, but before Blazing Saddles, no Hollywood movie had dared to include audible flatulence. Yes, you heard me right. Brooks insisted it was realistic. After all, the characters were eating beans around a campfire. The studio hesitated, thinking that the audience would find it tasteless. But Brooks was adamant, and the result was one of the most famous comedy scenes in film history. Audiences roared with laughter, and critics couldn't believe Hollywood had broken such a taboo. Today, as we all can see, fart jokes are everywhere in comedy. But Blazing Saddles was the first to make history with this. The studio tried to cut key scenes. Warner Bros. Executives were shocked when they read the script. They asked Brooks to cut two big parts, the repeated use of the N-word and the now famous fart scene. Ted Ashley, a top executive, even gave Brooks notes telling him to remove them. But Brooks had smartly made sure that his contract gave him final say. So instead of following orders, he crumpled the notes and threw them away. He felt the bold humor was key to the satire, making people face racism and hypocrisy through laughter. This stand saved the film's best moments and also proved Brooks's will to tell the story his way. Executives didn't laugh. During the first screening, imagine pouring your soul into a comedy and hearing nothing. That's what happened when Brooks showed Blazing Saddles to Warner Bros. Executives. The screening ended in silence. Yes, no laughter, no applause. Executives thought it was a disaster. Some suggested burying the film completely. But Brooks believed in his work. He arranged another screening, this time for regular studio employees. The difference was night and day. The employees roared with laughter, filling the room with energy. Their reaction proved the film worked, convincing Warner Bros. To release it. So if there were no second screening, one of the greatest comedies ever made might never have reached theaters. The horse-punching scene was based on a true story. One of the craziest scenes in Blazing Saddles is when Mongo punches a horse and knocks it out cold. Most people thought it was just silly slapstick, but the idea actually came from real life. Brooks' old boss, comedian Sid Caesar, once told him about a drunken night when he really did punch a horse. The madness of that story stuck with Brooks, and then he decided to use it in the movie. Of course, no animals were hurt. It was two trained horses that were used for the stunt. The scene showing Mongo's wild strength is still one of the funniest and strangest moments in Western films. Mel Brooks's multiple cameos. Brooks didn't just direct Blazing Saddles, he starred in it too, playing multiple roles. He appeared as the bumbling Governor William J. Lepedimon, a Yiddish-speaking Native American chief, and even provided voices for background characters. Brooks loved stepping in front of the camera and using his comedic energy to elevate even minor moments. These cameos were not just for show, they were fun Easter eggs for the audience. Yes, it added an extra layer of enjoyment to the movie. His role as the governor, full of clumsy mistakes and foolishness, became one of the most memorable comic parts. It showed Brooks' gift for making fun of himself while still keeping the story moving forward. If you're enjoying these crazy behind-the-scenes facts, don't forget to hit that like button. And tell me in the comments, which of these first 10 facts surprised you the most? Now let's get into the next 10, including our special bonus fact at the very end. Native Americans speaking Yiddish. In one flashback, Bart's family meets a Native American tribe that is led by a chief played by Mel Brooks himself. But instead of speaking in a native language, the chief delivers his lines in Yiddish. The absurdity was on purpose. Brooks was making fun of Hollywood's long habit of casting non-native actors in native roles and misrepresenting cultures. He turned the whole idea into a joke by swapping one false portrayal with another. Viewers who understood Yiddish laughed right away, while others just found the strange scene hilarious. A hidden kosher for Passover joke. One thing about Brooks is that he loves sneaking in little details that most people would never notice. In the scene with the Yiddish-speaking Native American chief, there's a hidden joke in plain sight. On his headband, there is a Hebrew writing that means kosher for Passover. It was an inside joke. The silliness of putting a Jewish religious label on a Native American chief's headdress made the scene even stranger. These little jokes were part of the fun for Brooks. All these made the film worth watching again and again. A musical Easter egg from the producers. Do you remember Madeline Kahn's unforgettable performance of I'm Tired? Yes, during that scene, a sneaky musical joke slips in. If you listen closely, you can understand that the saloon pianist plays a few bars from Springtime for Hitler, the outrageous song from Brooks' earlier film, The Producers. It may look quick and subtle, but for fans of Brooks' work, it's a delightful Easter egg. It adds a hidden joke for attentive viewers and also shows how Brooks loved connecting his films through little callbacks. This made Brooks's comedy feel like part of a larger comedic universe, and that only got funnier with every new film. Frankie Laine didn't know. It was a comedy. Brooks wanted a dramatic, old-fashioned Western theme song to open Blazing Saddles. He hired Frankie Laine, a respected singer of serious cowboy ballads. But then a twist happened. Brooks never told Laine the movie was a spoof. He worried that Laine wouldn't sing the song with full feeling if he knew it was for a comedy. So Laine performed it seriously, with passion and sincerity. That straight delivery made the dramatic lyrics even funnier once they were matched with the silly movie. Yes, the joke worked perfectly. The audience laughed at the contrast, and later Laine admitted he had no idea he was helping to create a comedy classic. Filmed on the Westworld set. We all know that Hollywood is known for recycling sets, and Blazing Saddles was no exception. The town of Rock Ridge, the heart of the movie, was actually the same Western set built for Michael Crichton's sci-fi film Westworld just a year earlier. Instead of building a new town, Warner Bros. Reused what was already there. This saved both money and time. The set fit perfectly, mixing the real look of an old Western with Brooks' wild satire. Hedy Lamarr sued over her name. The villain in Blazing Saddles is named Hedy Lamarr, but audiences kept mishearing it as Hedy Lamarr, the name of a glamorous Hollywood actress. The real Hedy Lamarr was not amused. She sued Warner Bros. For $100,000, claiming her name had been used without permission and damaged her reputation. The lawsuit was eventually settled quietly for a small, undisclosed amount. A real reaction to a fake insult. Sometimes the funniest moments are unplanned. In the scene where the Waco Kid tells Bart how the town will treat him, Gene Wilder made up a line on the spot, calling the townspeople morons. Cleveland Little was so surprised that he couldn't stop himself from laughing. He even snorted as a real reaction to Wilder's sudden insult. Instead of filming it again, Brooks decided to keep it in the movie. That unscripted laugh gave the moment a real and natural feel. A random pedestrian accidentally made the cut. The crazy ending of Blazing Saddles breaks out of the movie and into the real world. In the middle of all the chaos, a man in a blue sweater suddenly appears, looking lost and confused. He wasn't an actor. He was just a real person who walked onto the set by accident. Instead of removing the scene, Brooks thought his confused face was perfect. He asked the man to sign a paper giving permission and kept it in the movie. It became a great example of how Brooks used accidents, and also proved that the funniest moments are sometimes not even planned. It almost became a TV show. After the huge success of the film, Warner Bros. Thought about turning the story into a TV show. In 1975, they made a pilot called Black Bart. But there were two big problems. None of the original cast came back, and the writing didn't have Brooks's special touch. The pilot was shown only once and was never made into a full series. The show failed since it didn't have any bold jokes, wild energy, and sharp satire of the movie. Bonus fact, Bart's gun-pointing gag came from Brooks' childhood. One of the movie's strangest jokes is when Bart points his gun at himself, pretending to hold himself hostage. It's so silly and the audience can't help but laugh. But the strange truth is that the idea came from Brooks' own childhood. As a boy, he once stole some gum and a toy gun. When the shopkeeper caught him, he panicked and pointed the toy gun at the man, threatening him. This silly memory stayed with Brooks for years, and it was later turned into one of the funniest gags in Blazing Saddles. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the next one. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell us your favorite fact in the comments.